The vast emptiness of space stretched out before the U.S. horizon, a state-of-the-art human exploration vessel. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge, her dark eyes scanning the star-speckled void. The ship hummed with activity as the crew went about their daily routines, unaware of the danger lurking just beyond their sensors' range. "Status report," Chen called out, her voice steady and calm. Lieutenant Rodriguez, the ship's science officer, responded without looking up from his console. "All systems nominal, Captain. We're on course for the Proxima Centauri system." Chen nodded, a small smile playing on her lips. Humanity's first interstellar mission was proceeding smoothly. They were making history with every light year traveled. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the ship. Red warning lights flashed, bathing the bridge in an eerie glow. "What's happening?" Chen demanded, her calm demeanor slipping for a moment. Rodriguez's fingers flew over his console. "Multiple unknown objects approaching at high speed, Captain. They're not responding to our hails." Before Chen could issue orders, the ship rocked violently. Crew members were thrown from their stations as sparks showered from damaged systems. "We're under attack," shouted Commander Akira Tanaka, the first officer, as he pulled himself back into his chair. The view screen flickered to life, revealing a terrifying sight. A fleet of sleek, predatory-looking ships surrounded the horizon. They were unlike anything humans had ever encountered, all sharp angles and pulsing energy weapons. Chen's mind raced. They were outgunned and outnumbered. "Evasive maneuvers," she ordered. "Get us out of here." The horizon's engines roared to life, but the alien ships were faster. They effortlessly kept pace, pummeling the human vessel with energy blasts that slowly chipped away at its defenses. Inside the ship, chaos reigned. Crew members scrambled to repair systems and tend to the wounded. The air grew thick with smoke and the acrid smell of burning circuitry. "Shields at 30% and falling," Rodriguez reported, his voice cracking with fear. Chen gripped the arms of her chair, knuckles white. She had to protect her crew, but how? They were hopelessly outmatched. Suddenly, the attack ceased. An eerie silence fell over the bridge, broken only by the crackling of damaged systems. "They're hailing us," Tanaka announced, surprise evident in his voice. Chen straightened her uniform and took a deep breath. "On screen," she commanded. The view screen flickered once more, revealing a sight that made the entire bridge crew gasp. The alien captain was a towering figure, easily 3 meters tall. Its body was covered in iridescent scales, and multiple eyes blinked at them from a face that seemed more like a nightmare than reality. When it spoke, the universal translator struggled to keep up. "Pitiful humans," the alien's voice boomed. "We expected more of a challenge from the species that dared to venture beyond their cradle." Chen swallowed hard but kept her voice steady. "We come in peace. We're on a mission of exploration, not conquest." The alien captain laughed, a sound like grinding metal. "Peace? Exploration? Such cowardly pursuits. We are the Zarkan, and we conquer the worthy. You have proven yourselves unworthy." Murmurs of fear rippled through the bridge crew. Chen felt a cold knot of dread form in her stomach, but she refused to show weakness. "What do you want from us?" she asked. The Zarkan captain's multiple eyes narrowed. "Entertainment. We will give you a head start. Run, little humans. Hide if you can. When we catch you, and we will catch you, your fate will serve as a warning to others who lack the courage to fight." The transmission cut off abruptly. Chen turned to her crew, seeing the fear in their eyes that she felt in her own heart. "Orders, Captain?" Tanaka asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Chen's mind raced. They couldn't outrun the aliens. They couldn't outfight them. But maybe, just maybe, they could outsmart them. "We run," she said, her voice growing stronger with each word. "But not like prey. We run like humans have always run, with our minds working overtime. Rodriguez, I want every scrap of data we have on their ships and weapons. Tanaka, Get our best engineers working on improvements to our shields and engines. We may be outgunned, but we're not beaten yet." As the crew sprang into action, Chen allowed herself a small, grim smile. The Zarkan had made a crucial mistake. They had assumed that humanity's preference for peace equated to cowardice. They would soon learn that when backed into a corner, humans were capable of extraordinary things. The U.S. Horizon's engines flared to life, pushing the battered ship deeper into the unknown. Behind them, the Zarkan fleet loomed like predators, savoring the chase. But within the human vessel, minds were racing, plans were forming, and an indomitable spirit was taking hold. The moment when cowardly humans would surprise everyone was drawing near. The U.S. Horizon raced through the star-studded blackness of space, its engines straining to maintain maximum speed. Inside the ship, the crew worked frantically to prepare for the inevitable confrontation with the Zarkan. Captain Chen paced the bridge, her face etched with worry. "Status report," she demanded. Lieutenant Rodriguez looked up from his console, dark circles under his eyes. "The Zarkan fleet is still in pursuit, Captain. They're keeping their distance, but they're definitely following us." Chen nodded grimly. The aliens were toying with them, savoring the hunt. She turned to Commander Tanaka. "How are our defenses coming along?" Tanaka ran a hand through his disheveled hair. "We've managed to boost shield strength by 15%, but it won't be enough if they hit us with everything they've got." Just then, Ensign Maria Lopes burst onto the bridge, her eyes wide with excitement. "Captain, I think I've found something." Chen raised an eyebrow. "What is it, Ensign?" Lopes took a deep breath. "I've been analyzing the data from our initial encounter. The Zarkan ships emit a unique energy signature. If we can replicate it, we might be able to confuse their sensors." A spark of hope ignited in Chen's chest. "Excellent work, Lopes. Get with engineering and see if you can make it happen." As Lopez hurried off, the ship suddenly shuddered violently. Warning klaxons blared throughout the vessel. "They're firing on us," Rodriguez shouted. "Long-range energy weapons." Chen gripped her chair. "Evasive maneuvers. Return fire." The Horizon banked sharply, narrowly avoiding the brunt of the Zarkan attack. The human ship's weapons blazed in retaliation, but their shots seemed to dissipate harmlessly against the alien vessel's shields. "Our weapons are ineffective," Tanaka reported, frustration evident in his voice. Chen's mind raced. They needed a new strategy, and fast. "Rodriguez, what's the nearest celestial body?" The science officer's fingers flew over his console. "There's a large gas giant about 2 light-years away. Massive gravitational field, extreme atmospheric conditions." A plan began to form in Chen's mind. It was risky, perhaps even suicidal, but they were out of options. Set a course for that gas giant, maximum speed. The crew looked at her in surprise, but nobody questioned the order. The Horizon changed course, plunging toward the looming planet ahead. As they approached, the gas giant filled the view screen, a swirling mass of angry storms and crushing gravity. The Zarkan fleet followed close behind, clearly puzzled by the humans' seemingly suicidal course. "Captain," Tanaka said nervously, "if we get too close to that planet, we won't be able to break free of its gravitational pull." Chen nodded. "I know. That's what I'm counting on." She turned to address the entire bridge. "Listen up, everyone. We're going to skim the planet's upper atmosphere. It's going to get bumpy, but our inertial dampers should protect us. The Zarkan, overconfident in their technology, might not be so lucky." As if on cue, Lopez's voice came over the comm. "Captain, we've done it. We can emit a false Zarkan energy signature." Chen allowed herself a small smile. "Perfect timing. Engage the false signature as soon as we enter the planet's atmosphere." The Horizon plunged into the gas giant's turbulent clouds. Alarms blared as the ship was buffeted by hurricane-force winds and pelted with debris. But Chen's gamble paid off. Their reinforced shields held. Behind them, the Zarkan ships followed, their sensors confused by the false energy signatures and the planet's intense magnetic field. Suddenly, one of the alien vessels spiraled out of control, its sleek form crumpling under the immense pressures. "It's working," Rodriguez exclaimed. "Their ships aren't designed for these conditions." Chen allowed herself no celebration yet. "Take us deeper. Push our engines to the limit." The horizon dove further into the planet's atmosphere. More Zarkan ships fell away, unable to withstand the extreme conditions. Those that remained struggled to maintain formation. Finally, Chen gave the order they'd all been waiting for. "Now, full power to engines. Get us out of here." The human ship surged upward, its engines straining against the planet's gravity. For a heart-stopping moment, it seemed they might not make it. Then, with a final burst of power, the horizon broke free, soaring back into open space. Behind them, the remaining Zarkan ships floundered in the gas giant's atmosphere, their once fearsome fleet in disarray. As cheers erupted on the bridge, Chen allowed herself a moment of relief. They had survived the first battle, but the war was far from over. The Zarkan would regroup, and they would be out for revenge. But for now, the cowardly humans had struck their first blow. They had showed the galaxy that courage came in many forms, including the wisdom to run, the cleverness to adapt, and the audacity to turn an enemy's strength into a weakness. The U.S. horizon sped away from the gas giant, battered but unbroken, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The U.S. horizon limped through space, its hull scarred from the recent encounter with the Zarkan. Inside, the mood was a mix of relief and tension. They had escaped, but for how long? Captain Chen sat in her ready room, studying star charts on her tablet. The door chimed. "Enter," she called out. Commander Tanaka walked in, looking exhausted but determined. "Captain, engineering reports our engines are back to 85% efficiency. We're as ready as we'll ever be." Chen nodded, her face grim. "Good, because I don't think we've seen the last of the Zarkan." As if summoned by her words, the ship's alarms blared to life. Both officers rushed to the bridge. "Report," Chen barked as she took her seat. Lieutenant Rodriguez's fingers flew over his console, long-range sensors detecting multiple Zarkan vessels. "Captain, they're approaching fast." Chen's mind raced. They couldn't outrun the aliens forever. It was time to stand their ground. "All hands, battle stations," she ordered. "Tanaka, I want our best pilots on our shuttles. Rodriguez, pinpoint any weaknesses you can find in their ships." As the crew scrambled to obey, Ensign Lopes approached the captain, her eyes shining with excitement. "Captain, I have an idea. It's crazy, but it might just work." Chen raised an eyebrow. "I'm listening, Ensign." Lopes explained rapidly, her words tumbling out. "The Zarkan's energy weapons. They're incredibly powerful, but they generate a lot of heat. If we could trick them into overheating their own systems." A slow smile spread across Chen's face. "Excellent thinking, Lopes. Work with engineering to make it happen." The bridge crew watched in tense silence as the Zarkan fleet approached. This time, there was no running. The horizon stood its ground, facing its alien pursuers. The view screen flickered to life, revealing the Zarkan commander. Its multiple eyes glittered with malice. "Foolish humans," it hissed. "You cannot hope to defeat us. Surrender now, and we may grant you a quick death." Chen stood tall, her voice steady. "We will not surrender. Humanity has faced bullies like you throughout our history. We've learned that standing up to them is the only way forward." The alien's face contorted with rage. "Then you will die slowly, as an example to others." The transmission cut off, and the space around the horizon erupted with weapons fire. The human ship rocked under the assault, but its upgraded shields held. "For now. Return fire," Chen ordered. "Shuttles, launch and engage." A swarm of small, agile human craft poured from the horizon's launch base. They darted between the massive Zarkan ships, their weapons seeming insignificant against the alien hulls. But the shuttles weren't trying to destroy the Zarkan vessels. They were following Lopez's plan, firing specially modified weapons that didn't damage the alien ships, but instead caused their systems to work harder, generating more and more heat. On the Horizon's bridge, Rodriguez called out, "It's working, Captain. The Zarkan ship's energy readings are spiking." Chen allowed herself a small smile. "Keep it up. Push them to their limits." The space battle raged on. The Horizon took hit after hit, its shields weakening. But the Zarkan ships were beginning to falter as well, their once precise movements becoming erratic. Suddenly, one of the alien vessels exploded in a brilliant flash of light. Its overtaxed systems had finally given out, unable to handle the strain. "Yes," Tanaka exclaimed, pumping his fist in the air. But Chen knew the fight was far from over. "Don't celebrate yet," she warned. "We've still got." Her words were cut off as a massive energy blast struck the Horizon. The ship lurched violently, and sparks showered from damaged consoles. "Direct hit," Rodriguez shouted over the chaos. "Shields are down." Chen gripped her chair, her knuckles white. This was it, the moment that would decide everything. "Divert all power to weapons," she ordered. "If we're going down, we're taking them with us." The Horizon's weapons blazed to life, pouring everything they had into the nearest Zarkan ship. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, slowly, cracks began to appear in the alien vessel's hull. With a final, desperate surge of power, the Horizon's weapons punched through. The Zarkan ship split apart, secondary explosions tearing it to pieces. A stunned silence fell over the bridge. They had done it. They had destroyed a Zarkan capital ship. The remaining alien vessels, perhaps shocked by the loss of their comrade, began to pull back. The human shuttles harried them as they retreated, ensuring they didn't regroup for another attack. As the adrenaline of battle faded, Chen looked around at her battered but unbowed crew. They had faced impossible odds and emerged victorious. The cowardly humans had proven their worth in combat, showing a tenacity and ingenuity that had caught the Zarkan completely off guard. But Chen knew this was only the beginning. They had won a battle, but the war was far from over. As the Horizon's crew began emergency repairs, she wondered what challenges lay ahead, and what other hidden strengths humanity might discover along the way. The U.S. Horizon drifted in space, its hull a patchwork of hastily applied repairs. Inside, the crew worked tirelessly to restore systems and prepare for the next inevitable encounter with the Zarkan. Captain Chen stood in the ship's makeshift war room, surrounded by her senior officers. Holograms of star systems and enemy ship designs floated around them. "We've bought ourselves some time," Chen said, her voice tired but determined. "But the Zarkan will be back, and they'll be angry. We need a plan." Commander Tanaka stepped forward. "Captain, I've been analyzing the data from our last battle. The Zarkan rely heavily on their advanced technology, but that might be their weakness." Chen raised an eyebrow. "Go on." Tanaka manipulated the holograms, zooming in on a Zarkan ship schematic. "Their systems are incredibly complex. What if we could introduce a virus into their network?" Lieutenant Rodriguez shook his head. "Their cybersecurity is too advanced. We'd never get through." Ensign Lopes, who had been quiet until now, suddenly perked up. "What if we didn't have to get through? What if we could trick them into letting us in?" All eyes turned to the young ensign. Chen nodded encouragingly. "Explain, Lopes." Lopes stepped up to the holograms, her eyes shining with excitement. "The Zarkan are arrogant. They think they're superior to us in every way. What if we played into that? We could send out a distress signal, pretending to be a damaged Zarkan ship. When they connect to help, we slip our virus into their systems." A slow smile spread across Chen's face. "Brilliant, Lopes. But we'll need to make it convincing. Rodriguez, can you mimic their communication protocols?" Rodriguez nodded, already tapping away at his tablet. It'll be tricky, but I think I can manage it. Good, Chen said. Tanaka, work with Lopes to develop the virus. I want something that will cripple their ships without destroying them completely. As the team dispersed to their tasks, Chen couldn't help but feel a surge of pride. Her crew, facing impossible odds, was rising to the challenge in ways she could never have imagined. Days passed as the Horizon put the plan into action. The ship's exterior was carefully modified to resemble a damaged Zarkan vessel. Inside, the crew worked around the clock, perfecting their deception. Finally, the moment of truth arrived. The Horizon, now a convincing facsimile of a Zarkan ship, drifted helplessly in space. Its distress beacon called out in alien code, begging for assistance. On the bridge, the atmosphere was tense. Chen sat in her chair, outwardly calm, but inwardly churning with anxiety. And now, she said softly, we wait. They didn't have to wait long. Within hours, a Zarkan battle group appeared on their sensors. The massive alien ships approached cautiously, clearly suspicious. They're hailing us, Rodriguez reported, his voice tight with tension. Chen took a deep breath. This is it. Remember, everyone. Act arrogant, act superior. We are Zarkan now. The view screen flickered to life, revealing the face of a Zarkan commander. Its multiple eyes narrowed as it took in the sight of the damaged ship. Chen stepped forward, her posture rigid and proud despite her human appearance. She spoke in the harsh, guttural language of the Zarkan, the words feeling strange in her mouth. About time you arrived. We've been drifting for days, our systems compromised by those pitiful humans. The Zarkan commander's eyes widened in surprise, then narrowed again in suspicion. You look different, it growled. Chen sneered, channeling all the arrogance she could muster, a side effect of the human weapons. Now, are you going to help us, or shall we report your incompetence to the High Command? For a moment, the bridge crew held their breath. Then, slowly, the Zarkan commander nodded, transmitting docking instructions now. Prepare for system link. As the transmission ended, a collective sigh of relief swept through the bridge. But Chen knew the real test was yet to come. Rodriguez, she said, get ready to upload that virus. We'll only have one shot at this. The Horizon maneuvered closer to the Zarkan flagship, playing the part of a damaged vessel. As they approached, Chen could almost feel the alien ship's powerful systems reaching out, preparing to connect and assist their fellow Zarkan. Now, Rodriguez, Chen ordered. The lieutenant's fingers flew over his console. For a heart-stopping moment, nothing happened. Then, alarms began to blare from the Zarkan ships. It's working, Rodriguez exclaimed. Their systems are going haywire. Chen allowed herself a small smile. Disengage and get us out of here. Let's see how the mighty Zarkan handle a taste of their own medicine. As the Horizon sped away, the Zarkan fleet fell into chaos. Ships collided, weapons systems misfired, and communication channels filled with confused and angry alien voices. The cowardly humans had struck another blow, using cunning and deception to overcome a technologically superior foe. But as Chen watched the Zarkan ships grow smaller on the view screen, she knew that their greatest challenge still lay ahead. The element of surprise was gone. The next time they met, the Zarkan would be out for blood. The U.S. Horizon sped through the cosmos, leaving behind a trail of confused and angry Zarkan ships. On the bridge, Captain Chen allowed her crew a moment of celebration before calling them to order. Well done, everyone, she said, her voice filled with pride. But we can't rest yet. The Zarkan will regroup, and they'll be more determined than ever to destroy us. As if on cue, Lieutenant Rodriguez's console lit up with urgent warnings. Captain, he called out, his voice tense, I'm picking up multiple warp signatures. It's a whole Zarkan armada. The jubilant atmosphere on the bridge evaporated instantly. Chen's mind raced. They couldn't fight an entire armada, and they couldn't run forever. Suddenly, Ensign Lopes spoke up. "Captain, I have an idea. It's risky, but it might be our only chance." Chen nodded. "At this point, Ensign, I'm open to anything." Lopes took a deep breath. "The Zarkin see us as prey, right? What if we could change that? What if we could make them see us as equals?" Commander Tanaka frowned. "How?" "They've made it clear they think we're inferior." "By speaking their language," Lopes said, her eyes shining with excitement. "Not just their words, but their culture. The Zarkin value strength above all else. What if we challenge them to single combat?" A hush fell over the bridge. Chen considered the idea. It was audacious, perhaps even foolhardy. But they were out of options. "All right, Lopes," she said finally. "Let's do it. Rodriguez, open a channel to the Zarkin fleet." The view screen flickered to life, revealing the face of the Zarkin High Commander. Its multiple eyes blazed with fury. Before the alien could speak, Chen stepped forward. She drew herself up to her full height and spoke in a voice that rang with authority. "Zarkin," she said, "you claim to be warriors, yet you hunt us like cowards. If you truly believe in strength, then prove it. I challenge your greatest warrior to single combat. If we win, you will leave us and all other species in peace. If we lose, the horizon is yours." The Zarkin High Commander's eyes widened in surprise, then narrowed in consideration. After a long moment, it spoke. "You surprise us, human. We accept your challenge. Prepare to be boarded." As the transmission ended, Chen turned to her stunned crew. "I know it's a long shot," she said, "but it's our best chance to end this conflict once and for all." Tanaka stepped forward. "Captain, you can't go. You're too valuable to the mission. Let me fight in your place." Chen shook her head. "No, Commander. This is my responsibility." She paused, looking around at her crew. "But I'll need all of your help to prepare." The next few hours were a flurry of activity. The crew scoured their database for every scrap of information on Zarkin physiology and fighting techniques. In the gym, Chen trained relentlessly, pushing her body to its limits. Finally, the moment arrived. A Zarkin shuttle docked with the horizon, and a massive alien warrior stepped onto the ship. It towered over the humans, its scaled body rippling with muscles. In the cargo bay, now cleared to serve as an arena, Chen faced her opponent. She looked tiny in comparison, but her eyes blazed with determination. The Zarkin warrior sneered. "This is the champion of humanity. I will crush you like the insect you are." Chen didn't respond. Instead, she settled into a fighting stance, her mind clear and focused. The battle began. The Zarkin attacked with brutal force, its powerful limbs whistling through the air. But Chen was quick and agile, ducking and weaving to avoid the blows. As the fight wore on, the Zarkin grew frustrated. Its attacks became wilder, less controlled. Chen, on the other hand, remained calm. She waited patiently for her opportunity. Finally, it came. As the Zarkin lunged forward, Chen sidestepped and used the alien's own momentum against it. With a move that combined human martial arts with what they had learned of Zarkin weak points, she sent the massive warrior crashing to the ground. Before it could recover, Chen had it pinned, her arm pressed against a vulnerable spot on its neck. "Yield," she said, her voice quiet but firm. For a moment, the cargo bay was silent. Then, to everyone's shock, the Zarkin warrior began to laugh. "Well fought, human," it said. "You have earned our respect." As Chen helped the warrior to its feet, she realized that something fundamental had changed. The Zarkin were looking at her, at all of them, with new eyes. The cowardly humans had proven their worth not just through cunning and technology, but through the very type of personal combat the Zarkin respected most. It was a turning point in their relationship, one that would have far-reaching consequences for both species. As the Zarkin warrior returned to its ship, Chen turned to her crew. "This isn't the end," she said, "but it's a new beginning. And who knows, We might have just made some powerful allies. The crew of the Horizon, battered but unbowed, looked to the stars with renewed hope. The greatest adventure of all, forging understanding between different species, was just beginning. The U.S. Horizon drifted in space alongside the massive Zarkan flagship. Inside, an unprecedented meeting was taking place. Captain Chen sat across from the Zarkan High Commander, their respective crews watching with a mix of curiosity and lingering suspicion. "Your combat skills are impressive," the High Commander said, its multiple eyes blinking in what seemed like grudging respect. "Perhaps we were hasty in judging your species." Chen nodded, her face calm despite the tension in the room. "We have much to learn from each other," she said. "Humanity's strength lies not just in our bodies, but in our ability to adapt and work together." As they spoke, alarms suddenly blared throughout both ships. Rodriguez rushed to his console, his face pale. "Captain, multiple unknown vessels approaching at high speed. They're not Zarkan, and they're not human." The view screen flickered to life, showing a swarm of sleek insectoid ships emerging from what looked like a tear in space itself. Energy weapons blazed from their hulls, striking both human and Zarkan vessels indiscriminately. "The Hive," the Zarkan High Commander hissed, its scales bristling. "We thought they were just a legend." Chen's mind raced. They were facing a new unknown enemy, and they were caught off guard. But maybe, just maybe, this was an opportunity. She turned to the High Commander. "We can fight them together," she said urgently. "Your strength combined with our adaptability. It's our best chance." For a moment, the alien leader hesitated. Then it nodded grimly. "Agreed. Let us show these hive creatures the true meaning of strength." What followed was a battle unlike any the galaxy had ever seen. The Horizon and the Zarkan ships fought side by side, their recent enmity forgotten in the face of a common foe. Chen coordinated with the Zarkan commanders, combining human ingenuity with alien firepower. "Tanaka," she called out, "remember that trick we used in the gas giant? Let's try it on a larger scale." The Horizon darted between the massive Zarkan warships, using its smaller size and greater maneuverability to its advantage. It led groups of Hive ships into carefully laid traps, where the Zarkan's superior firepower could tear them apart. But the Hive ships kept coming, seemingly endless in number. For every one they destroyed, two more took its place. "We can't keep this up forever," Rodriguez shouted over the sound of straining engines and weapons fire. Chen gritted her teeth. They needed a game changer, and fast. That's when she noticed something odd about the spatial tear the Hive ships were emerging from. "Lopes," she called out. "Analyze that rift. Is it stable?" The young ensign's fingers flew over her console. "No, Captain, it's highly unstable. In fact, Her eyes widened. "It's growing." An idea formed in Chen's mind. It was risky, perhaps even suicidal, but it might be their only chance. She opened a channel to the Zarkan flagship. "High Commander, we need to destabilize that rift further. If we can cause it to collapse, it might take the Hive ships with it." The Zarkan leader's voice came back, tense but determined. "How do you propose we do that, human?" "We'll need to hit it with everything we've got," Chen replied. "Concentrated fire from all our ships at a single point. But we'll have to get close, dangerously close." There was a pause, then, "Very well. We will follow your lead, Captain Chen." Chen took a deep breath. "All ships, form up behind the Horizon. We're going in." The combined fleet surged forward, weathering a storm of fire from the Hive ships. The Horizon led the charge, its shields flickering under the assault, but holding, barely. "Now," Chen shouted as they reached the optimal firing position. "All ships, fire everything you've got." A dazzling array of energy beams and projectiles lanced out from the human and Zarkan ships, all converging on a single point in the spatial rift. For a heart-stopping moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, with a silent flash that lit up space brighter than a supernova, the rift began to collapse in on itself. High ships were caught in the gravitational maelstrom, crushed out of existence. All ships, full reverse, Chen ordered. Get us out of here. The Allied fleet pulled back just in time as the rift imploded, taking the remainder of the Hive fleet with it. In its place was left only empty, quiet space. On the horizon's bridge, an exhausted cheer went up. They had done it. Humans and Zarkan, former enemies, had together faced down a threat that neither could have defeated alone. As the adrenaline of battle faded, Chen looked out at the starfield, now peaceful once more. The cowardly humans had not only proven their worth to the Zarkan, but they had forged an alliance that promised to reshape the galaxy. The greatest adventure, she realized, was just beginning. And humanity, with its unique blend of adaptability, ingenuity, and newfound courage, would be at the forefront. The U.S. Horizon docked at Earth's orbital station, its hull bearing the scars of its incredible journey. As the airlock cycled open, Captain Chen and her crew stepped onto home soil for the first time in months. They were heroes now, not just to humanity, but to the Zarkan as well. A crowd had gathered to welcome them home. Cheers erupted as Chen and her team emerged. Among the welcoming committee stood the highest-ranking officials of Earth's united government, their faces a mix of pride and awe. But the real surprise came moments later. Behind the human crew, a group of Zarkan emerged from the ship. The crowd fell silent, a mixture of fear and curiosity rippling through them. The Zarkan High Commander stepped forward, its massive form dwarfing the humans around it. "People of Earth," it said, its voice translated through a device around its neck. "We come in peace, as allies and friends." A murmur of astonishment swept through the crowd. Chen smiled, remembering how far they had come from their first hostile encounter. The President of Earth's United Nations stepped forward, extending a hand in greeting. "Welcome to Earth," she said, her voice steady despite the historic nature of the moment. "We have much to discuss." In the days that followed, Chen and her crew found themselves at the center of a whirlwind of debriefings, ceremonies, and negotiations. The story of their journey spread across the planet, inspiring millions. Humans, once seen as newcomers to the galactic stage, were now being hailed as peacemakers and warriors alike. During a rare quiet moment, Chen stood with her senior officers, looking out over the Earth from the station's observation deck. "I still can't believe it sometimes," Tanaka said, shaking his head in wonder. "We went from being hunted by the Zarkan to fighting alongside them against a common enemy." Lopes nodded, her eyes shining with excitement. "And now we're talking about joint scientific missions, cultural exchanges. It's like something out of a dream." Rodriguez chuckled. "A dream? More like a nightmare at first. But I guess that's the point, isn't it? We turned it around." Chen smiled at her crew, feeling a surge of pride. "That's exactly it," she said. "We showed the galaxy that being human doesn't mean being weak. Our compassion, our adaptability, our willingness to extend a hand in friendship even to former enemies, these are our strengths." As they spoke, a Zarkan ship arrived at the station, carrying diplomats and scientists eager to begin the work of building a lasting alliance. Chen watched as humans and aliens mingled, their initial awkwardness giving way to genuine curiosity and respect. "Captain," a voice called. Chen turned to see a young cadet approaching, eyes wide with admiration. "They're saying that your mission has changed everything. That it's the dawn of a new era for humanity. Is it true?" Chen considered the question carefully. "I think," she said slowly, "that we've always had the potential for greatness within us. This mission just gave us the chance to show it, to ourselves as much as to the rest of the galaxy." She paused, looking out at the stars. "We were called cowards once," she continued. "But true courage isn't about never feeling fear. It's about facing that fear, adapting to challenges, and standing up for what's right, even when the odds seem impossible." The cadet nodded, hanging on every word. Chen smiled, seeing the future of humanity in the young officer's eager face. "Remember," she said, "our greatest strength lies not in our technology or our physical abilities, but in our hearts and minds. Our capacity for empathy, our drive to understand and connect with others, even those very different from ourselves. That's what truly makes us human." As the cadet hurried off, clearly inspired, Chen turned back to her crew. "Well," she said, a twinkle in her eye, "I think we've earned some shore leave. But don't get too comfortable. Something tells me the galaxy has plenty more surprises in store for us." Her officers laughed, the sound full of relief, pride, and anticipation for what was to come. As they stood together, watching the blue marble of Earth spin below them, they knew that this was not an end, but a beginning. The moment when cowardly humans surprised everyone had passed. Now, it was time for humanity to take its place among the stars, not as conquerors or victims, but as partners, explorers, and peacekeepers. The greatest adventure of all, understanding and cooperating with the vast diversity of the cosmos, was just beginning. And the crew of the U.S. Horizon, once dismissed as cowards, now stood ready to lead the way into this bright new future.